contest. If the election does not take place and eventually the court says that you do not have a case,
how can you compensate
all of us? How can you compensate all of us?
Yeah.
On the other hand, if it goes in your favor, we can compensate you monetarily. The states, the power of the state can do that. The Electoral Commission should be able to do that. The election results could also be annulled for the entire process to be run again. And so that is what the court considered and came to the conclusion that it should go ahead and allow the election to take place. So that is give the AC the green light to now do the election. That is where we are today,
and that's today,
2025, when the election is taking place.
Thank you for that very comprehensive analysis and taking us back to the elections that were held in December and all the many interesting, rather relevant activities and incidents that have happened in Akwatia. Now, today is the day that the people of Akwatia will decide who should take over from NSD Alkumi. And if anything that's happened in the past is anything to go by, we know that it could go either way. And like we've said, we're going to be bringing you all the details, live coverage on TV3 from the start of polls at 7 a.m. today all the way to 7 p.m. this evening. And we also know that the Ghana Police Service has dispatched over 5,000 men and women to ensure that this election happens without any violent incidents. Warnings have been sent out. There have been some concerns about the number of policemen on the ground. There have been concerns about intimidation, but the Ghana Police Service has given us the assurance that the presence of the police in Akwatia this morning is just to ensure that everything goes on smoothly without any clashes or incidents. And so we are going to continue to bring you this live coverage and let you know exactly what's happening every step of the way. We're also going to bring you some in-studio discussions. Roland Walker and our guests will be seated to bring you a further analysis on some of the details that Joseph Akable has already given us this morning on the show.
I mean, the bit about the security, that is an interesting area of concern for many. In fact, yesterday there was an attempt by the Peace Council for a peace pact to be signed between the political parties. That could not happen. As at last night when I checked with our colleague Marina, who is leading the team in Akwatia, they could not sign that. The reason being that the NPP showed up, the NDC also showed up, but the NPP said that the individuals that had been sent by the NDC were not national executives. They had sent constituency executives.
And that was not acceptable to them.
They felt that was disrespectful to their process. And so they did not basically decided not to sign it at all. And so that peace pact could not be signed. Again, the campaign messages around this particular election, we heard CNU Ketia, that final rally that took place, make the point that they, from the NDC side, they do not want violence to take place in this particular election. They simply want to win it. The NPP on the other side have accused the NDC. They've even made the point that they wanted a full list of the names of the officers who have been deployed. And I'm sure when we cross over, Roland has a fantastic security consultant with him on the other side. He may touch on some of these matters as to whether that is relevant information that should be put out there.
Or if it's done at all.
If it's done at all. I mean, they wanted full information of all security individuals who will be deployed to cover this particular, protect this particular electoral process, saying that they want that so that they could hold them accountable if anything goes wrong. And so that has also been a sticky point that the NDC replied and said that, well, when has it been done before that should be provided to you? And we don't think that is necessary. And so once again, by election, we are seeing the parties trade accusations of possible violence. And eventually, at some point, when we go through the history, we've had very memorable violent by-elections. I think the one that comes to mind quickly is Ayawaso West, where we had to even set up a commission after the by-election had taken place. We saw national security operatives who had been deployed, firing gunshots around and all of that, and that affected even outcomes. We again show you that voter turnout during by-elections are problematic. They are not the very best, and so you can imagine if it is marred by violence. And there are some other familiar names, Talensi, Cheponi, that also come up strongly. We'll show you all the details of all those things. And the thing that is similar with all of those areas is the fact that the voting pattern, mostly, they are strongholds. There's a bit of consistency in it. And so it's not because it is a swing or it's a likely flip that is what causes it to happen. You talked about Akwatia being sort of almost even.
Yeah.
But when we look at, we segregate it and look at the 2000, the post-2000, you see a bit of MPP consistency. And so that gives them a little edge over the NDC. But it still makes it tighter than the ordinary by-elections, which are not even closely marked and intense violence. So it comes back to the point that we have to pay close attention, else we may have a challenge.
But when we consider the history of by-elections in this country, is it not the case that usually the candidate, the party would retain their hold of the constituency?
Yes. Yes, that is
that's
correct.
what has been the case.
That has been the case. In fact, when we did the percentages out of the 33, about 82%. So it's an 82% retention. Always likely the party that is holding on to it wins it 82%. But there are other cases where it flips, and all those details are things that we'll be looking at in the course of the
Well, some analysts have said that this time around, because the NDC is in government, it might change what the usual has been. It could go to the NDC side. But well, that is what we'll wait to see by the end of polls today. But like we said, our reporters are on the ground to let us know exactly what's happening. And our man on the ground who has been giving us updates about the preparations for the elections, things happening on the ground, listening to some of the candidates, what they're saying, their campaigning, and also security updates on the ground is the man, Mauna Egbeta, and he's joining us live to let us know what's happening this morning. Good morning, Mauna.
Good morning.
Thank you for joining us. Exactly where are you this morning?
I'm at the RC kindergarten and primary schools. There are two polling stations here, and 7 o'clock, and so voting has already started in both polling stations. We got here a little earlier where the election or electoral officers were going through the paces, setting up quite simply. There's police presence here. The presiding officer here, before voting would have started as well, came round to just two women who were really seated, and they are the two individuals who are actually going through the process right now. They were seated here waiting for the officials to finish everything. He came, informed them about the process, walked them through what is going to happen when they get to the polling station, that there will be a name verification officer. From there, they'll move to a person with the biometric verification device and walk them through the process of verification. Afterwards, the fact that they would have to, amongst many things, have their identities verified via the BVDs, and then they'll be given ballot papers. And so we're seeing the first voter at RCKG kindergarten cast her ballot, and she can make her way out of this place. She just said away back to herself, seeking to suggest that she's done with her duties here as a voter. Let's just quickly try and pick her thoughts as well as to the process. For me, good morning. Thank you very much. You're live on TV3. I saw you tell yourself away bus. Ayankatri. I mean, who saw say away bus. I didn't know about say waba betuaba.
Oh, abanoto ntana kufia eno ye. Temetu ye no makufi.
No. Na oba no wa ye who say easy official no be church mo in same ni mo koy no na process net saying.
Sa so no chen sa pepepe netie. Debi ya tuewi.
What to but kasa bebre akoso den so na wo hwe personally I would aba beto aba.
Oh, se na mo kasa botran to kwa besi no. Otu aba we na akufi ahwe nsi. Media me feel say bibie no ebesi. E beto no finche, e be kan finche mu. Bibie no me ebesi. Nti na ma beto no ntem nti me kofi.
Na obeko juma so na wo fi a
me nko bebia me ofi. menkɔ baabi a mewɔ fie nti yɛhwɛ akyi no ɛbɛsi biara ɛnyame asɛm.
So she's voted, and she says that there's been a lot of statements, a lot of speeches that at 3 there will be disturbances and all of that, but she believes nothing of that sort is going to happen. The second voter as well at RC Kindergarten, Hashes as well, finished her voting. And so I mentioned there were 2 women here, and those are the women all having successfully voted as well, and are making their way out of the RC kindergarten school where voting has taken place. And we're just going to move from here and then go to the RC primary as well, because I mentioned there are 2 polling stations. There's one where the 2 individuals who had come waiting to partake in the exercise have successfully been able to do that. This